Panini, yes, Panini. Not Topps, not Fanatics. They're making some big moves. We're going to talk through it. Stick around. What's going on, sports card hobby family? Starting to come back to life a little bit. I, of course, lost my voice at the Metallica concert going back on Sunday night. I'm still kind of recovering from it.
How do you stay grounded? How do you do it?
I got a wife that kicks my
Woo! Get up!
And a little bit jet lagged, but got some sleep. Also got to visit Vancouver, my first time to the great country of Canada. Vancouver is such an interesting town over there, and all sorts of cool architecture, really mountainy, and I don't know, it was just a really cool spot. So if you haven't been on the west side of Canada, Vancouver, that was a really cool experience. Before we dive into Panini and something a little special at the end of the video, thanks to today's video sponsor, Pristine Auction. I had mentioned I had picked up recently a signed James Hetfield Metallica guitar. These guys have daily auctions, weekly auctions, 10-minute auctions, all sorts of cool stuff. I've got a Scream mask that was signed by Skeet Ulrich, and also the guy that plays Stu. Anyway, the two killers from the first movie. My daughter is getting really into the Scream series. We've been watching it together. We actually just finished it out. And so I got that for her as an upcoming birthday present because I'm a weird dad, and I thought that she would think that that's cool. I've also been bidding on cards and signed jerseys, and they've got all sorts of cool pop culture items and sports memorabilia. Check out Pristine Auction immediately in my link down below. Also, a lot of people taking advantage of the first-time submitter PSA special that we have. $25 off your first order, basically a free grade, one card minimum. So you grade one card, it's $25 off the order. I've got links down below. If you've never graded directly with PSA before, maybe you've always used it as a submitter, or you've just never graded cards, or you've used other companies, try them out. $25 off your first order. And like I said, the link is down below to get started. And last but not least, we sell a lot of SlabMags through the affiliate. And the reason why is simple. Just awesome display. You can color match these suckers to make your cards just look that much better. If you've got them sitting on your desk, you got them up on a shelf. I mean, UV protection, it's all the goodness. 10% off with Sports Card Dad promo code through SlabMags.com. All right, so there's a lot of talk about all the excitement that Topps is putting forward with all these new products and this and that and whatever. But we have forgotten about another company that frankly has put out a lot of really good looking trading cards over the last decade for football and basketball, and that company is Panini. Well, they have made a recent move that I thought was really interesting. They partnered with a company called Brander. This is a nil marketing agency, according to Sports Collectors Daily, great article from them, with rights at more than 100 college schools, so college universities. And so what they're really doing, you can see this, and this has been going on. This is not a new thing for Panini, but they are really diving deep into the college cards. And I think it's a really great move. They are going to lose the NFL and the NBA licenses here coming up here, in the next couple of years or so. But they are clearly moving into the company that is going to be the go-to for college cards. Of course, Topps is always going to have First Bowman, and those are always going to be sought after, I think. I think Topps is still going to also do similar stuff where they're going after some of this college business. But, Panini, they got in and got an exclusive multi-year deal with Caitlyn Clark, which is huge. Again, it's so funny. We've talked about, the risers, the fallers. If you look at the sports card hobby as a whole and you're looking at new prospects, the best prospect, as far as making money the last 18 months, it's not a pitcher, it's not a small forward, it's not a quarterback. It's been Caitlyn Clark. It's been a WNBA player, which I don't think was on many people's radar, which is part of the reason why I think you've seen such growth. Her cards, and keep in mind, those were Iowa cards that have gone absolutely ballistic. These are not WNBA cards. Her new WNBA cards have also become expensive as well. Panini still has rights to WNBA, of course. She has completely shown up for the hype. Her season started off a little slow. I would also blame coaching a little bit for that. She wasn't terrible at the start of the season, but now she's really clicking on all cylinders. She has some chemistry with her teammates. There's this dumb Rookie of the Year debate going around between her and Angel Reese. Guys, I understand that Angel Reese has some record for rebounds or double-doubles. Watch her play, and it's funny that anytime I see a post on social media about, the Rookie of the Year race and Angel Reese versus Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese, it's kind of like when, you're playing on like your 8th grade team and you're playing against maybe like this, 6th graders or something, and you're up close to the basket and you miss a shot and you miss a shot again, you grab a rebound. She'll get 3 boards literally from missing shots at point blank range, and then the putback. And okay, we got the basket. So for her to get 10 points and 10 rebounds, yeah, it's not hard to do. I'll give her that she's a great rebounder. Getting the Rookie of the Year because she's a great rebounder, because she's Dennis Rodman of the WNBA. I mean, maybe. I don't know how they're going to do the voting, but this seems to be like the most obvious thing of all time who the best rookie is in the WNBA. I mean, Caitlyn Clark does it all over the place. She's assisting, she's shooting, she's rebounding, she's doing all the stuff better than most players in the WNBA. You could argue that she's a top 5, top 7 WNBA player right now. Some have even said like, hey, why are we talking Rookie of the Year? She should be in the MVP race. I don't know if I'd go that far, but she's up there. She is not just the Rookie of the Year. She's one of the best players in the whole league. But anyway, we can still continue to, I guess, drive some engagement by pretending like there's other rookies that are in the race. There is no race. There's no Rookie of the Year WNBA race. All right, so many of you might think, but yeah, it's college cards, but once they get into the pro uni, then that stuff is worthless. Well, Caitlyn Clark's Iowa stuff is not worthless, and she's got WNBA cards, but I do hear what you're saying, but the thing that's different now, the thing that people have to understand that's different is they are signing these folks. Panini literally signed a quarterback that hasn't taken a college snap yet, and this guy is going to have cards. So it's a quarterback that's coming out. I think it's maybe a rising Ohio State quarterback or something like that. So the speculation, kind of similar to baseball card prospecting, where you're going back, when these guys are 17, 18 years old, doing the prospecting thing. This has now come to football and basketball, especially football, when you're looking at quarterbacks coming up. Look at Arch Manning. Arch Manning is a perfect example of this. He's got the Manning name. This dude's been selling expensive cards for the last 12 to 18 months, maybe even 2 years, going back. He is not even the starting quarterback yet at Texas. He will be presumably next year, but he's not even the starting quarterback yet. He's been on the roster for I think he's a sophomore this year. But many folks speculating that he's going to be kind of that it guy. He'd probably be the number 1 overall draft pick coming up in the NFL. So people speculating early on that happening. The other thing to keep in mind is they're not printing the new stuff quickly, meaning that even on draft day, where you've got a guy they've gone all the way through their college career, like kind of that college offseason, the combine leading up to the draft. How long does it take until after that for them to have, Prism cards or Topps Chrome cards or whatever it's going to be? It's still a lot of times 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, even after being drafted. The new products are not coming out on time or quickly. I guess that's my main point. So you have a lot of runway for these college cards. And yeah, maybe these aren't your buy, hold, coffin cards that you're going to be 80 years old with. But this is, again, look, a lot of this hobby is speculation, buying, selling, flipping. A lot of that hobby there's a lot of fun in it too. And when it comes to prospecting, whether it's young quarterback or NBA player, whatever it is, people want to be right. They want to be in early on an athlete to where they're like, aha, I bought that prospect going back however many years and it panned out. It worked out and I made a little bit of money on the card. So that's a fun endorphin rush. The thing I like about this, again, with these college cards, it's a low price point, entry point a lot of times for these players. Now, yeah, maybe an Arch Manning is an example of a guy that already has a lot of hype, so it's like, okay, those are going to come out expensive. But there's a lot of college quarterbacks. You can kind of speculate on how good's that team going to be, how tough is their schedule, and you can buy in on those quarterbacks or maybe even receivers. You look at Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff. Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff went absolutely bananas. And that's, again, if you bought in early enough, a lot of folks did really well on it. Now, my kind of experience with this was Bowman U quarterbacks that I bought in January, and really with the Drake May stuff, and the Michael Penix Jr., I was late to the game getting in January, February. There's a lot of people that were way ahead of me and did really well on those cards. I did pretty good on those cards, but if I had just gotten in a little bit earlier, if I had kind of had a little bit more foresight, I could have done better. So that my overall point is the college cards have a low enough buy-in point where the whole hobby, the middle class hobby, can get in on it. You know, nowadays for the pro cards, don't even get me started. You know, you want an optic football hobby box that's $800 and hoping that you get a downtown that maybe pays for part of it. You know, I mean, like, what's the excitement in that? You know, where's the value back in that? It's just rare. You know, people get absolutely hammered on new product for pro players. So yeah, you might say like, but when the pro stuff comes out, the college stuff is useless. But I can buy in on the college stuff, and then I've got a 2-3 year runway a lot of times before there's ever a pro product to where I can flip that card. So this college stuff makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to become a larger thing. I think it's going to be a bigger thing. I think more people are going to pay attention to college football prospecting, and even, you know, college basketball and everything else kind of coming down the line, which I think is great for college sports as well. You know, and especially now that you've got kind of the transfer portal, there's movement. It's almost like free agency. I think they need to tweak that system a little bit though, because it's almost like we're signing guys on like 1 year deals. College football is a little funky, but anyway, I like the movement and kind of the fun with college products. So something to kind of dig into and do a little bit of research on. If you haven't, it's just a fun thing if you're buying, selling, flipping cards. All right, and then last but not least, a massive sale, a private sale that was done through Golden. We announced this, I think, what was it, a couple of weeks ago or 10 days ago maybe? SGC came out that they had graded a Wilt Chamberlain rookie. This is an extremely fragile card. When you look at these at card shows, they're always off center. They're always kind of beat up. The coloring, everything. These are really tough cards. 61 Fleer set. It got an SGC 10. I wish I could see this thing in person because it's got to be magnificent. It has to be to get an SGC 10. It was found, I think, in like a grocery store basement, you know, one of these type finds in a cupboard, you know, which is insane to think about. But this card sold for $1.7 million in a private sale. And again, it's just this top of the food chain, top of the tier collectible sports card where the big money is going to come out for it. And they did here. So just interesting. It didn't hit auction. I wonder what it would have gone at auction, but it doesn't really matter. That's a huge sale. And I'm sure the people that found it are happy, but just such a rarity. I mean, you just do not see cards of that caliber that come out very often, if ever at all. This is a pop one for an SGC 10. I don't think that there's a PSA 10. I'll have to take a look at that. Let me know in the comments if there is a PSA 10 for the Chamberlain rookie card, but I don't think there is. I think the 9 might be. There might be a couple of 9s or something, but I'd like to know. If you happen to know, let me know. All right, friends. Stay healthy, stay awesome. And I will talk to you again later.